3 steps to lead generation. You have audience, action, and annoyance. If you want to stick around and learn how to get more leads on your desk than you know how to handle, watch today. We will get you in those first steps of building that least. Let's redo this live video. I'm Grant Kemp from CreativeCashFlow.com. Stick around. We'll see you on the other side.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batch Skip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashFlow.com, and Lifeonaire.
Teach me something.
Welcome back. Season 3 of Grant Teach Me Something. If you guys like the Grant Teach Me Somethings, click here. We will put a nice nifty link for you to go to the playlist of the rest of the Grant Teach Me Something so that you can learn everything from start to finish on how to buy more houses in your portfolio. What's up, Rai?
So many episodes.
So many episodes.
I am excited because no one has ever really said, because most people would think, okay, yeah, I need to take action. Yeah, I need to have an audience and I need to be consistent. But you're like, you need to be annoying.
You need to be annoying.
I can appreciate that.
I do. And so to give credit where credit's due, thank you, Mr. Tommy Merhout. I was sitting here trying to think, like, what is a word that starts with A? And he's like, annoyance. I'm like, that is a perfect way to say it, man.
And here I was trying to build you up, and you're like, nope, got to give credit. That's where the authenticity of Propelio and Creative and Grant and all this. This is why you need to be watching these shows, because sometimes we're full of it.
We're nothing if not real, right?
That's true.
So here's the thing, is that list generation, marketing, leads, those are the cornerstone of our business. You can know everything.
Yeah, and on that, you can know everything, but like lead generation is just like, you get your leads, and then you market your leads, and then you do deals. It's like, okay, but what about the leads? Well, you get your leads, you do your marketing, you do deals. So many times it just gets skipped over, really glanced over, because in a lot of ways, it's a bit of the secret sauce, and people don't want to give that away.
It is. It's very true. And, you know, and I want to be clear here, too, that my biggest skill, honestly, is converting every lead that hits your table, okay? And that's one of the things that you're going to learn from the Grant Teach Me Something playlist that you can click on. I don't know if we'll jump there on.
Now I got to do it twice.
I know, right? So that's something that you'll learn there, is that I think that to be a successful real estate investor, you should be able to convert more leads than anybody else. I would much rather have 10 phone calls and 10 contracts than 200 phone calls and 2 contracts. And the difference is negotiating and knowing your crap. But without those phone calls, we're nothing, right? So we have to get that lead generation. And there's so many different ways to get lead generation. And the thing that I want to encourage you to do is think. I want to encourage you to think, and this is going to be kind of a callback to last week's episode when I was like, look, I know people are going to ask me in the messages, well, how much do you pay this and how much do you pay that? And I said, I don't care. You figure it out, because this is something that you need to have that works for you, right? And what was one of our first questions that popped up was, well, what should I pay for this and what should I pay for that? I want to encourage you guys to think, because we are not the end all be all. Grant's knowledge is not the only knowledge that's out there. And in fact, by giving exact 1, 2, 3s, a lot of times, like just do this and this and this, a lot of times that hinders the creativity that would have been your success.
Yeah, and on that, I mean, it goes to what is the one answer to every single real estate investing question? What's the answer? It depends. So, like in this situation, like what you're just talking about is, you have your set of particular skills, and I have my skills, and you have your skills out there in audience land. At the end of the day, it goes back to something I say all the time. If you think you know everything in real estate, find a mirror and slap yourself. That goes to us as well. There's things that Grant destroys and kills at, and there's things that Daniel destroys and kills at. And then and it just vice versa all over the place. No two people are the same. So everything you take from Propelio TV, from Grant Teach Something, not only take it with a grain of salt, but use that to build more creativity on. Use it as a skeleton and then build more meat around it.
Exactly. So my goal for today is to teach you guys a a foundation to stand on, a foundation, a thought process that goes into the lead generation. And we're going to touch on some exacts in the middle of that. But part of that too is, hey, we got an hour. And there's a million different ways that marketing can work and lead generation can work. And the lead generation that works today is not the lead generation that worked 3 years ago, and it's not the lead generation that's going to work in 3 years.
And on top of that, it depends on your market.
It does.
So everything we're speaking about now is more Texas-based.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, if you're watching in Arizona, if you're watching New Jersey, if you're watching in Iowa or wherever, Cleveland, that's not Iowa. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Again, goes back to grain of salt, use that as a skeleton, and then use some creativity of your own.
Exactly. So here's our thought process. Here's our foundation. First, you have to build your audience. Then you have to take action, and then you got to annoy the crap out of them, okay? So let's start with section 1, is building that audience. One of the things that I want to point out about when we're talking about lead generation is that I have had a ton of success in my career since way before Propelio TV, and I was in front of people in this way, through network marketing. Network marketing is huge for me. I do really well with folks that know of me or know me personally and know that I'm a guy that can close deals that other people can't. Okay, so that's been an area that I've been able to focus my efforts on and do well with, and that's with the in-person like REI events, which we've got one coming up May 14th, which I really encourage you, even if you're a national, like you're not here in Texas, fly in. We have people come from all over the place with these things. They're huge, and we've got some really, really big speakers coming up with Troy Fullwood, with Eddie Speed, Corey Peterson,
Will
Crozier. I mean, you've got some beasts that are going to be filling you guys in on fundraising and how to get the money for your deals, and these are the guys that know how to do it. So go to those and take advantage of that space where you're in an area with other people that think about things the same way that you do. And by watching the Grant Teach Me Something episodes, you should have strategies available to you that a lot of investors just don't, because we get more creative about stuff and we can close things. So that's one of the audiences that I have done really well with for my lead generation. Ever since I started my career, I found that that works for me. This is why I'm starting with audience, and I'm not starting with build your list from list source or even the Propelio list or anything like that, because your audience may not necessarily be the homeowner, right? I know guys like Brady Durr whose audience is banks, whose audience is other wholesalers, right? Which is similar, like, other wholesalers are one of the big ones that I've worked with over the years. But your audience may very well be the homeowner. Your audience may very well be the tired landlord. Your audience may very well be a wholesaler, whoever that is. You've got to figure that part out first.
So a part of figuring that part out, is it based off of who they want to do business with or who they think they could do business with? Or is it a combination of both? Because here's the thing is, if I'm really good at talking to distressed sellers, but I hate it, there's got to be some soul searching of, do I really want to do that?
Man, I love that question. I love that question. That's such a wise question. That is a whatever the golden nugget of questions would be in that, because it's very insightful. It's very much one of those things that you guys need to figure out. And this goes on to a theme that we've talked about a lot, kind of on surface level, but I've never kind of taken it this deeper level in. One of the things that I consistently say is the best part about being an entrepreneur is that if I don't like working with you, I don't have to work with you. That's one of the things that I consistently point to as a favorite part of owning my own company. Is like, if you're a crap person to deal with, I don't have to deal with you. When I work for somebody else, I have to deal with whoever I'm told to work with, right? Now, the caveat here is when you're getting started, you don't have the luxury of choosing. When you're getting started, you have to work with whatever is going to be that RGA. This is a term that I'm stealing from Josh Jenkins, which, Josh Jenkins? That doesn't sound right. Insurance? James, thank you. Like that doesn't. James Jenkins, the insurance extraordinaire, had coffee with him one morning, and he used that term, which he may be taking.
Clearly, he made an impact on you.
Taking up from a book or something, but it stands for revenue generating activity, and I love it, and I've adopted it, and I use that internally all the time because we've got to focus on those revenue generating activities. When you're getting started, your RGAs have to determine everything that you're doing.
Right.
Now, if that audience, like you hate talking to distressed sellers, but you're doing really well with it, you got to do that. You got to put food on your table. It's your responsibility to yourself, to your family, and to your employees to do the things that are going to make money that can feed that consistency.
And the reason I came up with that question is, and hopefully this is still on topic.
Yeah.
But like at the We Live 19 with Max Maxwell, Gary Vee, there was a question to Gary Vee of, I really don't like cold calling, and then Gary Vee's, and then it's kind of one of those situations where, first of all, let me preface by saying I love the shit out of Gary Vee, and I watched like an hour of him last night. But it was like, he interrupted the kid and was like, if you don't like cold calling, don't effing do it. And the audience erupts. But I'm like, that's really cool, sitting up there with a $155,000 speaking fee, fly in, fly out.
Yeah.
But if you're just getting started, you got to do it.
I know, and that's and I'm glad you're pointing that out, because that's and again, kind of to your, I don't watch Gary Vee, so I'm not saying one opinion one way or the other, but that's guru talk. That's let me motivate you so that you're willing to follow me, because I can make you guys feel really good.
Yeah.
My job here is not to motivate you. My job here is not to make you feel good about yourself. My job here is to give you the tools that you need to succeed.
But it's like the 4-hour work week. The 4-hour work week is great, but you got to do this. And we talked about this yesterday. Plug the show that Casey and I did was, it takes 1,000 hours a week to get to the point where you can do 4 hours a week.
Right.
But anyway, I think we're off topic a little bit. But
so
sorry.
To that point, you find your audience, okay? Now, Propelio.com, if you guys are not already using it, is a phenomenal resource for you on finding audiences. Not only are you going to find your lists of like actual hot leads, like leads that I literally, so I've known Daniel, you were talking about if you think that you know everything, slap yourself. The reason why Daniel and I know each other is Daniel was a freaking beast wholesaler doing tons of deals every month, every year, but he saw, hey man, I don't know how to do owner financing and this long-term stuff. I don't know how to create cash flow. And this guy Grant does. And so he approached me and I trained him how to do that. That's where our relationship started, was a beast saying, I don't know everything, right? So I knew him when he was getting Propelio.com started and all these kinds of things. And I when he told me what he was going to offer on this, I'm like, dude, what the hell are you? Those are our leads. Those are the ones that we use that nobody else gets. But he had such a, and he's gotten me on board with getting everything out there for everybody. But I say that to say, too many people see those lead lists that are listed on Propelio, and there's this kind of false narrative in our minds subconsciously a lot of times where they're like, well, if somebody else has access to this lead list, it's not worth actually heading on.
Somebody make that a meme or something.
And here's the cheesy phrase. Here's my motivator for you. You miss 1,000 or 100% of the shots that you don't take. If you are not one of the postcards that people pick up and say eeny, meeny, miny, mo and pick out, you're not going to buy that house. These are real motivated people, right? So use the lead list. And I know that they've just signed a huge contract for national leads. They're going to really expand out what you've got available to you. There you go. There's leads directly for homeowners that are in a situation that might want to sell their home, and you have to hit that audience.
And not to get too pluggy, but I'm glad you brought up Propelio.com. But one thing that's really interesting the past year and a half is you were talking about like Brady Durr, like looking for landlords and to distinguish your audience. Whatever you're doing in real estate, there is an element of networking to that.
Always.
So that being said, is in the past year and a half, is one thing that I think we've done very well here at Propelio, both on the live streams and the events and just the comment section, the groups, is the community that's around that. So part of that audience that you need to be reacting to, need to be networking with, we've already done it for you. It's already there. All you got to do is jump in. So the comments, like on YouTube, the comments on Facebook, the Propelio group on Facebook, jump in, engage, and hey, I need to build a list. Guess what? The list is already there. So a lot of don't reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Utilize the tools that are there.
One of the ways that I've phrased that as I've been training people over the years is when you're getting started, pay everybody else to do what they're good at until you're good enough to fire them. Okay? So maybe lead lists are that thing. Maybe lead lists are that thing where it's like, look, get them from someplace else. Let somebody else do that hard work until you've established, like he said, kind of, you got to spend that 1,000 hours a week to get to a point where you can work for. There's so much other crap you're going to have to do to get your business going. use the wholesalers, use the lists, use the whatever. And if you eventually find another way to pull that back in and find your audience in another fashion, that's cool. But don't try to reinvent all the wheels when you have tools that are so powerful, readily available to you right then.
So we've talked about like the back end, or we've talked about the landlord, we talked about the other investors. What about typically when people think about lead generation, they're thinking about the acquisition side.
Right.
And I know we talked about the lead list that, list source, Propelio.com. What about the whole building an avatar and that kind of audience?
Yeah.
Is that on topic, or is that something else?
It's very on topic, but it's very on topic for what I want to do, not next week, but I think it would be a week after that. That was actually going to be the next topic that I want to tackle, so thank you for bringing that up, is that our next topic, so next week I'm going to be in Washington, D.C., charging the Capitol with the Seller Finance Coalition to work on the national laws that are being put out that are affecting us investors. So as always, I'm trying to be out there to help the community both locally and nationally. We got some really good success here in Austin meeting. I literally sat down in front of the senator, the commissioner of the SML, the lead attorney for the bankers, the lead attorney for the lenders, and the licensing, and talked to them about what we needed in the laws. They changed it. It was awesome. We're about to do the same thing in the Capitol. That's going to be next week. The week after that, we're going to do 3 steps to building an avatar. And this is going to be the section that we really discuss when you have decided on your audience, when you need to hammer or drill into that and decide how you're going to speak to that audience. This is going to be a shout ahead to the next episode of how do you build out exactly what that person looks like and what items are going to matter most to them to bring up in your discussion, in your marketing piece, and all of that kind of stuff. That'll be our next episode.
So for this episode, the purpose is like, okay, my audience is landlord, and then later we'll build out the avatar for the landlord.
Right.
A distressed single family owner, that avatar, and then boom, and then so the audience is just distinguishing who are the people that are most likely going to be selling property.
Exactly.
Estate planners, lawyers, all, and then the audience is the mass of those people.
Exactly. So that's exactly where this section of our 3 steps matters, is that the reason I'm pulling this in is that it's easy for us to just think, okay, well, I need to buy houses, therefore I need to get a list of distressed sellers. My purpose of making step 1 of this 3-step process, defining your audience, is to kind of broaden your mind, create that thought process. Again, like I said, we're going to be training your thought processes to allow you to have the creativity to get your most success. In saying that, sometimes it's not the homeowner. Sometimes it's a wholesaler. Sometimes it's a bank. Sometimes it's other people that are just trying to get started in the industry, right? You need to identify who you work best with and who you can be most successful with, and understanding that that's a pretty broad...
Yeah, it's almost like reverse engineering a flowchart, where like, this is the person you want to work with, where did they come from? And they came from that.
Right.
And then you just work your way backwards.
Exactly. So, that said, here is an example of defining your audience and step 2 of taking it in action. You guys are my audience. You guys are who I do most of my deals with. If you have deals that you don't know how to handle, or you need funds to close, or you have a lead and you're not sure if it's a lead or not, that's where I do most of my business. So DM me, let me know what the lead is, we can work through it, and I can JV with you on that deal. So that shows you I've identified my audience of who I'm, typically most successful in my acquisitions with, and I've taken an action to talk to you. Section 2, we're going to talk about action. That action can be something like what I just said. That action can be mailer pieces, and I'm going to give you some specific phrases that you can say to some specific people that are going to help you convert that lead into a deal from your pipeline.
And what I would say is, and if you're not confident enough to DM Grant, that's fine. DM me with those same questions, with those same deals, and then I will refer you to Grant, and then Grant will pay me for that referral.
And that's exactly how it works.
And that's how real estate works, ladies and gentlemen.
Networking. All right, guys, so stick around. When we get back, we're going to talk about action, and I'm going to give you some specific phrases to say to specific people to get those leads into deals in your portfolio.
Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at Propelio.com.
You want to buy more houses. Here's Dar and his wife after only 2 weeks of being my mentor student. And here's Brady after paying attention to all our online videos and attending all the live Q&As. You want to buy more houses? 3 steps. Sign up at creativecashflow.com/memberships, watch all the videos, attend the live Q&As, and then send me a photo with you and your sweet, sweet new contracts. creativecashflow.com, helping you buy more houses for one low price of only
All right, and welcome back as Ryan makes fun of my
I just realized I didn't do the Grant teach for something.
Oh man, we've been going for like 2 years.
But I just did it, so we're good.
All right, so we're still good. Awesome.
It counts, right?
It counts.
Got it.
All right, so again, I'm Grant Kemp from CreativeCashFlow.com. If you like the things that you're learning here, please check me out. We got a YouTube channel, Creative Cashflow. We are also at CreativeCashFlow.com, where I train all the start to finish of how to do creative strategies and answer everybody's questions on how to do this stuff on a live Q&A every Monday night. I would love to have you guys there with me. So step 1 was building your audience. Step 1 is figuring out that audience might not be homeowners. And if that audience is homeowners, drill into that. Is your audience tired landlords, or is your audience the actual owner-occupant?
And one thing we didn't address is you can have multiple audiences.
Oh, of course you should, yeah.
You know, but each audience has its own funnel.
Right,
And
absolutely.
each member of that audience, which we'll go into hopefully in 2 weeks, is the avatar of that person. Anyway.
Absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, that's very true. You've got to be hitting multiple avenues because you need to always have like an avenue that works. This will be your action steps, so we'll tie it in. You have your avenues that work, and then experiment with some other avenues because that's how you find trends. Okay, so right when you're starting, you've got to take action. You've got to find an audience. You've got to stop searching for new crap, and you got to take action on it. One of the big killers of entrepreneurship is shiny objects and always feeling like somebody else's strategy is better than yours, therefore you need to drop what you're doing and move over to that side. What I see happen time and time again is just not sticking to a plan long enough, okay? And there can be some, like for instance, I met a guy, this is somewhat of a sidetrack, but I met a guy 3 years ago who had spent like 8 years on a dongle that would allow people to print from their phone, and like that he had like poured his whole life into this thing, right? That was kind of obsoleted and kind of didn't really matter, but he didn't see that it was too late, and he was still like he was driving his whole world into the ground on something that like didn't really have a place anymore. And so there is a line. There is a line where you have to draw that you have to say, I have seen that this is not successful and I need to change. However, I think people draw that line too quickly sometimes.
Well, and then also I'd like to throw in a caveat of, again, it depends. Because if somebody like a Grant Kemp or anybody that's in the Propelio Academy is telling you exactly what to do, and they're flat out saying, no, it's okay, copy me, and then you take that and then you want to turn the creativity on and then you want to change it, and they're like, but Grant, it doesn't work. It's like, well, what did you use? Well, that's not what I told you to do. Yeah. So it depends on what you're saying, because again, if somebody's saying, hey, this works, do exactly what I'm saying to do, and you want to put your flair to it and it doesn't work, before you start complaining, maybe try to do exactly what you were told to do. Sure, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So you define your audience, right? You figure out who that's going to be through taking action. So these kinds of Propelio TV, the education that you have available to you, the forums, the groups, all that kind of stuff, you're going to hear of successful strategies that are working, okay? Take that and take action on it. And be prepared that it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to freaking suck, and you're not going to gain traction immediately. You have to be able to stick through. If somebody else is showing you this is a good way that works, use it. Find that option. So what I'm talking about here is like cold calling. We've already had that mentioned here a couple of times, right? Cold calling works. It sucks. It's a hustle. It's hard. You get yelled at. People hang up on you. But it works. You got to stick it through, right? going and doing these REI clubs, networking, like I was talking about. I talked to wholesalers, and I'll give you some specific phrasings. I like, Sonia said, the phrase that pays. I like that.
She also said course correction earlier, so I like that too.
Yeah, there you go. There's a difference between course correction and vision, what is it called? Vision drift, right?
Right.
Dang. Oh, yeah. So, like, talking to wholesalers, going to the REI clubs. That's a grind. I don't like taking time out of my family's interaction time to spend evenings all the time during the weeks going to these clubs, but it's valuable and it works.
What's funny is, and we talk about this all the time with on the Rewind, subtle plug, if you like what you're seeing and you want the notes of not just Grant T. Smumpin, but all the shows, every Friday we do a show called The Rewind at 5 o'clock Central. But even if you don't watch that show, if you go to propelio.com/rewind and sign up for that email thing, every Friday, Saturday, one of those days, I send out an email with all the notes of all the shows.
It's such awesome.
So even if you don't want to watch the shows, which is fine, I prefer you did, but it's all good, you can get all the notes and literally get all the nuggets in real quick versus watching 15, 16, 20 hours worth of content.
But don't stop watching this.
But don't stop watching this. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah,
the notes are huge.
Yeah, that is huge. So it is a grind. Doing this networking.
Shit, now I remember my point.
Go for it.
My other... the point I was really trying to make, other than plugging the Rewind in the notes, was yesterday we had a show, Elizabeth Gold, and we were talking about how, because again, everybody's like, you got to like the grind. And she's like, I had cancer. Yes, it made me a better person. I didn't like having cancer.
Right.
So you don't have to like the middle.
Right.
You just have to know that you have to do it. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
I just wanted to point that out.
That's you don't have to like the middle. Another phrase that I like that kind of is along those same lines is that everything looks like a failure in the middle. Because if you give up too early, you will have failed. Everything looks like failure in the middle. Look at Apple. Apple was failing miserably in the 90s. Guess what they are now? One of the largest companies in the entire world, right? Everything looks like failure in the middle. And that is, so I need you guys to kind of remove, because we're talking about action, right? This is my rah-rah section. I need you to remove the I'm going to feel good by listening to rah-rah brain moment right now. And I need to place your head in the space of doing work actually is work.
Right. And real quick, obviously, Sonia, I love you all the ways because she threw in the fire truck, flooded yesterday. All this was pre-planned because what he was talking about is tangenting in a way and don't be distracted by shiny objects. We just got distracted by shiny objects of a different conversation. So that was pre-planned. We showed you.
Right.
Back to the point of taking action.
So
it's calling it back.
So understand that when you take action, it is not sexy. It is not the little dopamine hit that you get from getting 80 likes on your post with a coffee in front of you and a pen of paper that says, grinding out some marketing pieces.
Hashtag hustle grind.
That's not what this looks like. What this looks like is busting your ass and doing stuff and having to convince yourself to work whenever it sucks and having to convince yourself that it's a better idea. And well, actually, I'm not even going to go down that road. RGA. Finding those RGAs, right? So understanding that it is, you find your audience, and so like I am there with you on this. If this resonates with you, it resonates with me. The thing is that we love thinking. We love the idea of, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then it's going to make me a ton of money, and then I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to have a luxury car, and I'm going to have a big house, and blah, 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 blah. Oh, crap, it's already been all day. You have to get out of that, and you have to understand that you're going to just have to decide to go out and do some stuff. That stuff is going to be sending mailers. That stuff is going to be cold calling. That stuff is going to be going to REI clubs and putting on a smile and learning how to get your RGAs and taking action.
Right.
Right? So when you define who your audience is, it's very valuable. I would recommend your first step being try some stuff direct marketing to your direct sellers because, hey, you should be a member of Propelio.com anyway. You have lead lists available to you. Start marketing to them. Start getting the cold call out, start getting the mailers out to them, start doing some door knocking, but then also go to at least 2 clubs a month. At least 2 in-person meet with people clubs a month and talk to them.
What's interesting about that is and we alluded to this very beginning, is like we're up here, yes, and we're not. We're just people like y'all. I actually was in a conversation with Jay Lee yesterday in the past week, and I basically told her, like, you're not fully utilizing what we're doing here at Propelio TV. She's like, what do you mean? You need to be going to at least one event every single week. You're on a mini web series TV show, for God's sakes. Mm-hmm. Anytime you go somewhere, people are going to want to do business with you because, now they see you on the internet, they see you on your phone, they see you on TV, and now they see you in person. Mm-hmm. So that's the action she needs to take. One thing I wanted to add to that about taking action, and when you were talking about before, was you need to do the systems and not be distracted by shiny objects. There's a difference between being distracted by shiny objects and being a student of other opportunities, other strategies. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, one of the things I'm dabbling at the moment is Instagram messaging, where like I'm basically doing a voice message, and you may have gotten one if you're watching this, or I'm like, hey, May 14th, we got an event. Or, hey, Instagram, thank you for following our Instagram account. And I didn't come up with that myself. I was watching YouTube and going, oh, that's a good idea. So be a student of these different strategies.
But that still plays into what we're saying here of like kind of what I mentioned a second ago, where it's like you should have, once you've kind of put your net out there, right? Yes. When you're getting started, right? You've got to put your net, and that's what I'm talking about at this moment is talk directly with sellers, talk directly with investors, see which one is playing out better for you, and then put more efforts into that. Anytime that you're marketing, and part of your action taking is that you need to establish what your foundation is, and you need to establish the things that do work for you, and then you need to add other channels in and constantly be experimenting with them, in his case being these Instagram messages, and see when those start taking hold. This is where you track trends. This is how you figure out what does and does not work in your market, because you find your baseline and then you compare and you say, well, for the dollars, for the time, for the effort that it takes me to do this piece of marketing, I get X results. The same, metrics on this piece get me X or Y results. Which one is more worthy of my time? And then you shift your resources, time, energy, money, into whichever one is doing best for you. And oftentimes, this is how you're going to see when that next turn or cycle in the market occurs. Because guess what? Mailers worked great for a long time. They're not really working great anymore. They will probably work great again in a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're bringing that up, because I want to show that it's like you can have, if you're tracking the data and you have empirical evidence of this works over this or this works over this, keep tracking, because at the end of the day, you can't make these definitive statements like mailers don't work. They don't in DFW, they don't work today. But what happens in 2 years when after 2-3 years of hearing mailers don't work, mailers don't work, mailers don't work, and then people just stop mailing, guess what? Mailer's going to work again when nobody else is doing it.
Right.
So there's never a definitive this doesn't work. It's not working at this moment in time.
Sure, absolutely. Now, there may be some definitives this don't works, like I'm not going to go up to somebody's house and like kick their door in and be like, sell me your damn house! That probably is not a marketing piece that's going to work ever. But do your experimentation and see. So,
but we're not lawyers. We're not lawyers. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Propelio.com does not condone kicking somebody's house with a gun.
That's what I heard. I heard Propelio.com said it. So, so here's some phrases, right? When you're in that in-person marketing piece, one of these areas of success that I have, and this may resonate for you, one of the areas of success that I have in JVing with people and having deals is the wholesaler. Possibly a new wholesaler, possibly a wholesaler that's been around for a while. I have the ability to talk to wholesalers that are a little bit more successful because I have a little bit more of a reputation, and they're more willing to take a risk on their lead with me than somebody who may just be coming into the business. But if you're just coming into the business, you want to talk to these wholesalers that are also just coming into the business and are also trying to find the way to maximize their marketing budget, maximize their leads, that kind of thing. So you talk to them about what they're doing, And if you are a student of mine, if you are a student at creativecashflow.com, if you've been watching the Grant Teach Me Something episodes, you know how to take down deals at higher LTVs than anybody else does. You can take down a deal at 90% and still make $100,000 on it, whereas a wholesaler needs to take that deal down at 60 or 70%. So your piece to them is going to say, what's your first question always when you're networking with somebody?
Are you here to leverage your time, your money, or your experience?
Exactly. So if you find that they are leveraging, whatever, their knowledge, if they say experience, their knowledge, and you dig into that and you say, oh, you're a wholesaler, what's your follow-up question? Or a question that can come before that is, what can I do to help you, right?
On that, it's like, I think, and again, I don't know if we've talked about this or if this was in private, if I'm a wholesaler, shouldn't there be a qualifying question of how many deals have you done in the past month? Should you do that?
I don't know.
Because a lot of times it's you want to make sure, is this person...
Yeah, but people also lie.
That's true.
That is a good question. It's not a question that I typically employ because I don't really care. All I care about is how can I help?
Right.
What can we do to work together?
So basically what you're saying is, you're the good guy, I'm the bad guy.
No, not necessarily.
I don't want to talk to you. That's not true. I'm actually not doing real estate right now, so I will talk to everybody.
Well, but what you are doing is you're getting millions of transactions done because you are putting a platform in front of people that is allowing them to succeed. So
let me check my bank account.
Real estate is being done because of you. So we want to find how we can help them. If they are a wholesaler, we can help them by helping them close more deals. We can help them by taking the leads that they are not able to close because they owe too much or the seller is not willing to accept an offer low enough, and we can convert those as an owner finance deal. So here's the phrase that pays. Thank you, Sonia. Is you're gonna say, oh, well, that's where I can help you. I specialize in low equity deals. If you're wholesaling, what are you doing with your leads if they owe too much or if they're unwilling to accept an offer that's low enough for you to do or to work? And they will usually give you some sort of answer that translates to throwing it away. So then you're going to say, well, there you go. That's where we're going to be able to work together because I can convert those leads. So next time you run into a situation where your seller is unwilling to accept the offer that you have on the table or they owe too much for it to work, send that lead to me. I will do what I can to convert it with an owner finance deal, and then when I convert that deal, I will pay you for making that transaction happen. And here's the phrase that pays. This way, you're paying for your marketing campaign out of your trash can. Okay?
And to tie it all back, by sending the deal to Grant, you are still taking action.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything has to be a step forward. You always have to be stepping towards that RGA. One of our problems in action taking is that we convince ourselves that bullcrap that doesn't matter is still action. So a really good litmus test for does this action matter is the action that I'm taking right now going to directly lead to me getting more money? Okay? Setting up your Propelio, that's not going to directly lead to you getting more money. Dialing the phone, that's going to directly lead to you getting more money. Okay? You've got to run all of your action items across that litmus test of is this an RGA? And be very real with yourself on the answer with that, because otherwise you end up building your systems and making yourself feel really good because look at this thing that I'm building. And Corey Thompson, that's one of the things I love most about Corey Thompson is he cuts right through all of that crap and he's like, put out your signs, call some people, knock on the doors, stop telling me about all this other... He'll just berate you for not focusing on your RGAs, and I love that about him.
I'm definitely going to screen grab that and send that to Corey. Be like, that's your
what
impression?
Grant thinks about
that's
you.
That's your impression?
So we've talked about two of our A's, right? First A is audience, second A is action, and our third A is going to be annoyance. Our third A is a very, very, very important subsidy of the second A.
And real quick before we move on, because again, I could just see people going, well, that's easy for y'all to say. Y'all know what y'all doing. That's easy for Corey. That's easy for this. At the end of the day, you take two people. You take the person that knows everything there is to know about this business versus the person that knows nothing. And this person is kind of like hesitant to act But this person who knows nothing but has no fear and will just be that bull in the china shop and throw out signs and do something, who do you think is going to be more successful?
That was me.
The guy, the gal, the person that just goes out and just throws out a sign and just does it.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to a quick analogy of like in the Marines. When I was in the Marines, they always say that women were the best shooters than men. And the reason being is because stereotypically women don't shoot as much before they go into the military. So therefore, they know nothing about rifles. They know nothing about shooting. So they're just listening and doing exactly what they're told. Versus men who I grew up shooting on the farm, and then they go, and then the drill instructor's like, do this. They don't, I know what I'm doing. Be the person that's just going to take direct action. You're smiling like I'm
I just
treading
love
water.
this sexism minefield you're running through right now.
Is it? It's not a minefield. I'm just talking about stereotypes.
You're navigating it well. It's a minefield.
It was a compliment. Women are better
They
shooters
are.
in the
Totally.
military
My wife
than
can't
men.
even rack the pistol, and then she's like, and it's like a group like this. I'm like, give me my damn pistol back.
I've seen you shoot. If you're going to break into a house, you'll be fine. But anyway, my point being is the person that knows nothing about a subject versus the person that knows everything. If the person that knows nothing is willing to just jump in the deep end and take significant money-making activity action, they're going to be successful.
Absolutely. It is, I will be, here's a very relevant comment. If you are Jon Snow in real estate, you know nothing.
Did you see that he died last week?
I know, it was crazy. And Cersei dying too.
Oh my
Insane.
God. And this is Game of Thrones, by the way. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
None of that happened, by the way. So anyway, you got to take that action. That was me. I didn't know crap about this. Got in, started taking action, and just did, right? And that's what you got to do, all right? So you've got an audience, you've got action. When we come back, we are going to talk about annoyance.
Real quick, what is RGA for Mr. Brian?
It is a revenue-generating activity.
Cool.
So back to we got action. I'm sorry, audience, action. When we get back, we're going to talk about annoyance.
Wait, real quick. I'm just kidding.
Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at Propelio.com.
You want to buy more houses. Here's Dar and his wife after only 2 weeks of being my mentor student. And here's Brady after paying attention to all our online videos and attending all the live Q&As. You want to buy more houses? 3 steps. Sign up at creativecashflow.com/memberships, watch all the videos, attend the live Q&As, and then send me a photo with you and your sweet, sweet new contracts. creativecashflow.com, helping you buy more houses for one low price of only
All right.
Teach me something.
Welcome back, guys. All right, we are talking about the 3 steps to lead generation.
Speaking of squirrels, I was going to show our little counter. 3760 on the YouTube. So, if you're not subscribed on YouTube, hook us up and subscribe. The little button that should be right there. There's a button right there.
And also hit that thumbs up. And also comment on this stuff, guys. Here's one way that y'all can, so we are trying to give as much information and help you guys out. One thing that y'all can do to give back that's very simple is that YouTube and Facebook, they track if you comment on this stuff. Like, they track if you give us a thumbs up. They track if you subscribe. That can really help us, right? So please thumbs up it. Please subscribe. Please comment.
Every like, every comment, every share basically tells the internet gods of YouTube, of Facebook, that this is relevant content. So, I always thought it was kind of like for the past 10 years watching YouTube videos, please subscribe. I'm like, shut up. Just get to the point. But now that I'm in this world, I understand, because you're basically telling the internet, this is good stuff.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, so just help us out on that way.
Was that annoying?
So this third piece is annoyance, and I love putting it that way because we've got to have consistency in our action, okay? This goes back to like what we were talking about with the action piece of like, you got to just do it. You got to push through, even though it's going to suck. This is not, stop hearing me say that in like a very raw way. Stop getting your dopamine hit by, yeah, we're going to take action and it's going to suck. Get your dopamine hit by closing a deal.
Right. Cashing that sweet, sweet deal.
Cashing that sweet, sweet deal. So when you have defined your audience, when you have taken action, the next step is to be freaking annoying about it and to continue taking that action until money has hit your bank account.
And real quick, I do want to say thank you for not taking advantage of the easy jab, which would have been in this next step. We're going to be talking about annoyance. Grant? That would have been the easy jab. So that's comedy for you guys. Thank you.
That's what we like to call comedy.
That's what we call it. Anyway, but annoyance it's obviously we called it annoyance, or Tommy called it annoyance because we were looking for a consistency word that would throw into the A's.
Right.
And
exactly.
annoyance is a play on that.
Because I was going deep into an A-hole into that, and so I needed to get more A's. So if you are going to do action, you have to be annoying about it. And so ideally, so here's a bit of Grant's family lineage. My sister is a freaking baller marketing executive for Amazon. And I've never actually had marketing conversations with her and stuff because we're family and I don't want to you know what I mean? That's her job. I'm not trying to make her talk about her job after work and stuff. But there's been a couple of things that get mentioned here and there that are good for us to know. And one of those is that 7 touches is what you want.
Edgar, I see you, brother.
Oh, look at that. Yeah,
boom.
You can make this number go up right here, actively, live right now.
Yeah. So your family.
So you want to touch them 7 times. So what that means is you get in front of this person at least 7 times on every marketing piece. Now, some people's philosophy is I'm going to get in front of this person as many times until they tell me to stop, okay? That can be very cost prohibitive because we need to be refreshing our leads, we need to be refreshing our audience, and we don't necessarily want to spend our efforts and our money on an audience that is just clearly not going to work with us. 7 times is typically that amount of time that it takes to get there. And again, my sister, when she changed jobs last time, there was an article in Forbes about it, right? She's very good at what she does on this stuff. So we take that to heart. Now, a touch is anytime you're in front of them. That might be a phone call, that might be a postcard, that might be a door knock with a letter left on there. Whatever that thing is, get in front of these people because you need name recognition. So I go on Reddit, and I love how people on Reddit think that marketing doesn't work on them. And they're like, that commercial is annoying. They don't know that doesn't work on me because I am impervious to marketing and they're stupid.
But yet they're talking about it.
For free, and they clearly get out of the mindset that marketing doesn't work on you. Marketing absolutely works on you. Absolutely, positively, 100% works on you. We all like to think we're these special snowflakes that make our own decisions and the way that we make our own decisions. And in reality, we're ants, and we follow trails of sense that you don't even know that you're taking. That's the whole kind of basis of NLP, which to give a shout out to the Propelio Academy, which is launching. We get a second one, awesome. Which is launching May 1st. We've got the relaunch of the Propelio Academy. We've got a ton of new content on there. I've been named as the Dean of the Academy, so I've got my team working on this, and we're pushing really hard with the Propelio team to get all of this stuff relaunched and re-put in a very great navigational manner for you. May 1st, please check that out. We're going to be getting some stuff. Bryce McKinley does a whole course on NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And it is a very real, very, I don't know what the word is, very real.
It's scary.
It's kind of scary. Look on how psychologically we make decisions based on some very key factors that marketers have learned to weaponize. And guess what, guys? One of the key mistakes that we make in real estate investment is that we tend to think that we can only look at other real estate investing tools and resources to learn what we can do to be successful. But that's not true. Thanks, whoever just subscribed. Let's keep seeing that. Mm-hmm. The reality is, it's psychology. The reality is, marketing is marketing. The reality is that we have 1,000 years of marketing experience to call on to see that annoying people with getting your brand in front of them works.
But this is almost a callback to the second section of action when I was referring to be a student of what's going on, because like the whole Propelio team, well, not all the team, but like myself, Nate, Daniel, and Simon, we went to a digital marketing conference last fall. And it's relevant for what we're doing, but at the same time, we're like, oh my God, we're so stupid. We've been going to real estate events for the past 2 years that we forgot that we need to be going to a marketing conference. We need to be paying attention, because in our world, we're like, email lists don't work as well as they did 3 years ago.
Right.
And then we go to that event and they're like, no, email lists very much so still work. So you need to be a student of what's out there, and you need to dabble.
Absolutely you do. So
You're talking about the seven touches.
yes, 7 touches. So you need to get in front of these people. Now, if that is a wholesaler that you've talked to, follow up with them. See how they're doing. Take them out to coffee. These are one of the reasons why I work well with other investors, is that I talk the same language, right? And you may talk the same language as other investors and be able to do well with the JV projects and that kind of stuff, because if you have something to offer, whether that's the knowledge or the office back end or whatever that is, or the capital or what, you can consistently say like, hey man, how are things going? What are you running into? How can I help, right? And just getting in front of them enough times matters. Let's talk about, for a second, one of the most successful marketing companies that there is out there, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has its success from marketing. So think about what you see, like what do you see on a Coca-Cola billboard? Like, can you think of like a billboard or something that you've seen from Coca-Cola? Just kind of name some things that you see about it.
I haven't seen a Coca-Cola billboard.
Or an advertisement at all.
Santa Claus?
Santa Claus. You know, Coca-Cola created our vision of Santa Claus.
Did not know that.
He was not a red-suited, big, hairy man until Coca-Cola created that for us. But what you see in Coca-Cola commercials is people having a good time. You see the name Coca-Cola, that brand, that logo, that all of you, when I said Coca-Cola, probably thought of that brand, that logo. It's very intentional. You see a billboard for Coca-Cola, it just has the big old logo, somebody smiling. That is, by the way, their avatar that they built. It is no coincidence that you are driving through. Here's a great non-politically correct topic for me to talk about real quick. If you have ever driven from like Austin to Dallas on 35, look at the billboards as you're coming in, and as you're driving through South Dallas, guess who's on the billboard? African Americans. Nothing but African Americans on billboards on South Dallas 35.
I'm so glad I didn't say what I was going to say.
When you pass a certain threshold that's right at the north side of Oak Cliff, guess what you start seeing? You start seeing white and Hispanic people on the billboards. As you start going further and further north, it's a bunch of white folks. So that is because these brands have built their avatar and are trying to market to you. They want you, whatever demographic you fall into, to see yourself in that marketing and say, that white guy looks like me. I'm bald, and he's smiling while he wears a Coke, while he drinks a Coke.
To go deeper into Coke, call back to the audience building, is, you're talking about, Santa Claus. That's more of a family activity. Well, when's the last time you ever heard of a Pepsi and a Jack? It's never Jack and Pepsi.
Right.
It's always Jack and Coke. If I go to the liquor store, they're most like, because I think they sell this now as a Jack and Coke combo. Like
Japan calls those highballs.
Awesome. But again, it's like, why is it Jack and Coke? Why isn't Jack and Pepsi?
So here's how their name recognition, their annoyance has given them, I think they're the largest market share of soda people, because all that matters at the end of the day, we choose based off of recognition more than anything else. When you're facing that rack of beverages, the pure recognition of that brand gives a massive advantage to that brand, in that if you are in decision mode and you're tired, you're going to reach for the brand that you recognize.
You know another brand that does it really well? Red Bull.
Yeah.
They're an energy drink, and they've highly taken over that whole high impact sports, skydiving, cliff diving, mountain biking, all of those kind of XE sports types of things, like that's their shtick, that's their thing. So what are all those things? They're all high impact, high energy activities. So mentally, high energy, high impact. Oh, it's an energy drink, Red Bull.
Right. They just need the name recognition, right?
Right.
So you need to be name recognizable. Name recognition matters so much because I'm here to spoil the you know, everybody knows the no HUD guru crap, right, on Facebook. The fact that you recognize people's names in this industry often makes you think that they are successful in real estate, even though they have not got a portfolio and not got a track record of success. If you recognize their name, you're like, oh, I know that guy. He's doing a bunch of stuff, right? So that matters. You've got to annoy people enough to get your name into their head so that when they need to make a choice of who they're going to work with, it's going to be you.
So let's apply that to, you know, trying to buy a house. And this is I'm going to use Daniel's system for an example, because a lot of lead, and again, I'm going to say this, it depends. It depends on what type of lead, because a lot of our business is speed. That being said, a probate lead is not so much speed. That's more patience and follow through and follow up. But a pre-foreclosure lead, that's speed. So like Daniel's system for a pre-foreclosure lead is when you get it from Propelio.com, you immediately drop it in, get your skip tracing, which should be part of the new release, courtesy of Skip Genie. When you get the lead, you're immediately dropping 3 RVMs that night. If it's, you're cross-referencing that list to make sure if it's a high equity deal, you're knocking on the door. So right now you're at 4. The next day you're dropping another 2 RVMs, and then you're also dropping a letter. The problem about letter campaigns is it takes 3 to 5 days before it gets there. But if you're counting, that's 7 touches within 3 days, 3 to 5 days. So that's a very real actionable step that you could take in your marketing, courtesy of Daniel Chad Moore.
Excellent. That's excellent. So yeah, be recognizable. Get in front of these people. So those are the big takeaways for your lead generation. This is the philosophy that you need to stand on with whatever audience you choose, with whatever action piece you choose. You have to annoy those people enough to where they recognize you to make those decisions for you now, or the decisions to work with you. So we've got this core. We've got this baseline for you to be creative on to make your lead generation work for you. And when we come back in a couple of weeks, next week I may give you a live video from DC to give you an update, but the week after that we'll be talking about building that avatar. And I look forward to helping you out with that side too.
And I do want to clarify that, yes, we're using the word annoy a lot, but we're really just being consistent.
Correct.
You don't want to knock at somebody's door at 11:30 at night or 2 in the morning, because you might get shot. I mean, let's be honest. But you want to be consistent enough to where you are having that brand recognition. You want to be somebody locally who dominates in what he does is Yale Hamrick. He like basically owns a neighborhood. Everybody in that neighborhood, and he just blankets one neighborhood, and everybody in that neighborhood knows, like, when it's time to sell, I'm going to sell to Yale.
Yeah.
Like, so someone like me, if I try to drop a letter campaign, I have no capability competing with somebody like Yale, because Yale has dominated that neighborhood. So that's why you need to be consistently annoying.
Absolutely. All right, guys, so we're going to be wrapping up here. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Again, this is our 3-step series in honor of the 3rd season of Grant Teach Me Something, where the season numbers are made up and the points are golden nuggets.
We're actually working on that, though, because like Tyler is working on the notes, but he's also working on our content library. And one of the things we're going to do is clean up the Grant Teach Me Something series to where it is like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. So hopefully, like in a few weeks or maybe a month or a year from now, we'll be like, hey, this is episode 122.
Excellent.
So, but yeah.
Well, cool. All right. So if you are watching if you're listening on the podcast and you have questions, please hop into the notes of the podcast, click on the link that's there, and you can go to our YouTube channel and drop your questions in for us there. We do monitor that. We do want to come back and answer those things for you as time goes on.
And then also another cool thing that we just started doing this week is on the YouTube description, there's going to be a small quiz. And by quiz, I don't mean like, oh, it's literally just some questions that you can ask yourself, and there's no points, there's no rewards. It's just, did I really get what I needed?
It's a way for you to actively listen, right?
Actively listen. Did I get what I could out of this episode? And then under that quiz, there'll be a link to our Facebook group that'll have the answers. So that's just a way to be a part of our Facebook group, our community, be a part of our audience,
right?
Take advantage of that, but also just to see if you got enough out of this episode.
Well, and also understand that this Propelio audience is our audience, you included, right? The community is a better way to put it when we're talking about audience here, because you have other people that are like-minded, that are listening to the same things that you may be able to work with and help build each other up ultimately. So guys, thank you so much for joining in here again. I'm Grant Kemp from CreativeCashFlow.com. If you like how I teach things, if you want to learn more from me, please check me out at CreativeCashFlow.com. If you're not already subscribed, Propelio.com is an amazing tool that you really need to subscribe to be able to take down as many houses as humanly possible. We've got the May 14th live event here in Grapevine. DFW. So highly recommend that you guys come in for that. Is there anything else that you want to close up with?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up earlier about national audience, and I was thinking about this driving in. I'm actually could probably do an email blast to our entire list. I usually don't. I only email our Dallas-Fort Worth people, but I'll be like, hey, come to our event. So, it's one of those events where it's like you should come if you're from national audience. If you're from Connecticut or whatever, or whoever.
You'll get something from it.
If you're in Connecticut, you probably already have money. But, anyway. But come to our event. People fly in from all over the country. We do it once a quarter now. Free booze, free food, a lot of education, a lot of networking. But ultimately, just be a part of our community. Engage in YouTube. Engage on Facebook. Be a part of the Facebook group. One thing that, I've completely missed the boat on and missed the trend, again, paying attention to what's out there, is Facebook groups. Just wasn't really a thing for us. We were always pushing the Facebook page. What we should have been pushing this whole time is the Facebook group. So if you know what it's called, bear with me, the Propelio group.
Whoa.
I know, mind-blowing, right? Where's that light? Where's the light thing? Oh, gold nugget, there we go. The Propelio group. It's so creative, right?
Wow.
You know what our event's called?
What's that called?
The Propelio event.
Whoa.
So it used to be called the DFW Real Estate REM event, but everybody called it the Propelio event, so it was like, why fight it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, that's Propelio.com, leads, list, websites. We do have a mobile app coming out, beta, very, very, very soon. But I don't know the dates on that, and I don't want to misspeak.
And look out for the Propelio Academy dropping on May 1st. So propelio.com/academy. Guys, thank you guys so much for being here. We love you all. We love seeing you succeed. We want to see all of your success stories. Please fill us in whenever you're having successes, and we will see you on the next episode of...
Brian.
We will see you on the
We
will see you on the next episode
Propelio
of...
teach us. I know, I was just messing with you.
Wow.
Grant, teach me something!
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batch Skip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Lifeonaire.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan with Propelio. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. Turn on those notifications and stick around for more. We have tons of content like this all over our channel. So if you want to learn more about real estate investing, stick around, watch Propelio TV, and we'll see you later.